Hello guys, this is the Anime Hour here, and welcome back to Princess Evangile. Now, this diabolical bitch is planning something, we all know that. She had realized it the moment she walked into the room. At the same time, I just grabbed the book, burn it, just saying, no, fuck no. At the same time, she was worried her mother seemed to have some terrible scheme in mind. She shouldn't be able to drive Messiah out through any unjust means. Now the chairwoman was covering for him, and the grand vote was close. In reality, there should be nothing her mother or the headmistress could do to her.
それを必要に思う時が、痛切に必要と思う時がきっと来る。
Freaking gun. Just keep going on you at all. Also,
だからリツコ、それを持って帰り。
分かったわよ。
either way, it seemed best not to defy her.
じゃあ話はこれだけ。
ええ。
帰るわね。
あ、リツコ。いえ、やっぱり何でもないわ。
この話？
いずれ説明するから。ちゃんとね。
You don't know how badly I want to hear. Oh, my violent tendencies. I'm so fucking violent. One of the many things I need to learn in the future to control. Not so easy for me. It was a chilling smile, even though it was her own mother connected by blood. Risco still felt afraid.
失礼します。ごきげんよう。
ごきげんよう。
本当にお母さんたら変だわ。
She had called her to her office, said all those odd things, what could be going through her mind. It was probably just a sign of how desperate she was, but Risco still refused to give her an inch. As she watched, she flipped through the album. Each page was a man in posh clothing, dressed nicely with a row of glistening white teeth. That evening, I got an email from Risco and met up with her in the cathedral. Risco.
マサヤ様、ごきげんよう。
Hey, what's wrong? You haven't even changed out of your uniform.
まだ寮に戻っていないので。
Have you been here this whole time?
いえ、さっきまではマリア館にいました。
I see. I'm glad to hear that. It must be cold sitting in a place like this all by yourself. Sat down next to her, the wooden chair. I forgot to turn my fucking fan off. Sorry if you heard that in the background. The wooden chair felt like ice. But it has been a while since we last came here. We didn't have to hide our relationship anymore, so there was no need for a secret rendezvous spot. The huge space was deserted as ever. There was a tranquil atmosphere there. So what's wrong?
ええ、実は母の様子がちょっと。
The headmistress. Risco explained that after class, her mother had given her another set of arranged marriage profiles. That didn't seem out of the ordinary by itself, but apparently she had been acting strange. What do you mean strange?
そうですね。口ではうまく説明できないのですが、一言で言うと怖いような。
Frightening.
とっさに思ったのは悪巧みです。母は何か妙なことを考えているのではないかと、そんな気がして。
It wasn't much to go on, but Risco was smart. If she sensed it, it was probably there. They were mother and daughter anyway. But it should be okay, right? Not even the headmistress can drive me out at this
ええ、
point.
私もそう思ったのですが。
That's why she did something no one would suspect. Again. Still, Risco looked nervous.
でも、なぜでしょう。 虫の知らせというのか。
She looked into my eyes uncertainly.
あなたがどこか遠くに、私の手の届かないところに行ってしまいそうな。
Her anxious feelings seemed to call out to me in the middle of the abandoned cathedral. I pulled her toward me gently. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. You're frozen all over, are you okay?
大丈夫です。今はあなたがそばにいるから。
I can't stop this. I'm too much of an emotional sap. We stayed like that for some time, holding her next to me like this. I could feel her breath and her heartbeats. Why was it that being with the woman I love brought such peace to my heart? Tammy had stopped taking surveys, but we could feel each way the wind was blowing instinctively. Support from the White Lily Society was clearly rising.
これはひょっとするかもしれないわね。当然ですよ。私は最初からこうなることが分かっていました。
Moonstone, you did a good job. Not much I can say. But why did you have to make two separate games for a continuation of the actual story? I have no clue.
そう？一時期は結構不安そうにしていたと思うけど。
Like, for things like Mass Effect, I can understand why it's in 3 parts. Although, I find the 4th game, even though it's good to play, I still find it bullshit because of how it is. Like, it diverts from the actual storyline of what's actually happening. Which is pissing me off, actually. Aika was right, but Rise was beyond triumphant at the moment.
なんでかしらね。どうにも納得がいかないわ。冬休みに入るまでは楽勝だったのに。
My eyes.
なんだかんだでみんなも変革を望んでいたということなのよ。律子はこうなることを予想していたってことだし、ほんとよくわからないわね。
Are you all idiots?
大丈夫ですよ。私はもちろん信じています。最終的にはお姉様が勝利することを。
I guess. Of course, both sides were working as hard as possible on the campaign. We put up posters and updated the homepage. They also given outdoor speeches. Mexico and Rise, taken it as individuals, it would be hard to say who was superior. And after a year, the students should have gotten a clear idea of their manifestos. And it seemed like in the end, most people were tipping in the direction of reform.
結局連れてきたサンプルが良かったのよ。ん？マサヤさん？
I can't stop the laugh. Ah! What am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something. H&A check. Okay. Yep, I was right to check because a certain thing on my wish list is gone. Oh boy. Whoops. Okay, I can't seem to find it. Meaning it's not on Steam yet, which is something to wait for, I guess. Because the game Noble Works, I think it's the same creators of this, Moonstone. I think it's the same game Moonstone made. I'm not entirely sure. Also, another game that I like for there to be on Steam would be Draku Riot, because I played that game. Well, I played the unrated version on my laptop over there, and I enjoyed the shit out of that game. Ironically, all the other stories minus one was appealing to me.
うい、それで改革開放の
Been a
機
long
運
time
も
since
高
we
ま
heard
った
that.
ということなんだわ。
Don't forget we. Like, what the? Or a cycle.
うい、それで改革開放の機運も高まったということなんだわ。甘いと思うんだけどね。甘いって？だって男子にもいろいろとあるでしょうよ。もし白百合会が果たして一体どんな人たちが入学してくることになるのか、将来の OG として心配になるわね。まあね、マサヤさんみたいな人もちょっと珍しいだろうし、そうでなかったら私がスカウトで苦労することもなかったはずだわ。そうよ。だからサンプルから学校の行く末を判断するのはやっぱり私は早計だと。ただ男子がいなかったら。男子がいなかったら？まあともあれ、まだ負けると決まったわけでもないというか、主給派の方が多いはずだから。
By the way, speaking of which, I still cannot wait for Flash Season 4. I saw the trailer. I can't wait for the return of Barry Allen. I'm not a big fan of Wally West Flash. No. Even though he was slightly epic in the Justice League TV show for when Superman was all beat down and only Flash could defeat Lex Luthor Brainiac.
このまま逃げ切って最後に笑うのはこちらよ。いいわね。はい。はい。
Then one night, aha! This is where I fast forward. Because that. I know full well that that was going to happen. But Briscoe had eaten lunch with Sally nearly every day since the third term began, but today he was nowhere to be seen.
お手洗いかしら。
Natalie, no. Your rich mother hired 2 guys to kidnap me so you can be desperate. She waited for him, tray in hand. 5 minutes passed and 10 minutes, but Messiah didn't appear.
変ね。
As that never happened before, every day he's say I'm starving and smile at her. Normally he came to the dinner hall immediately after lunch break began. She found Rise and spoke to her.
ごきげんよう。リセ様。ああ、ええ、なんでも体調不良だそうなの。体調不良。さあ、そこまではシスター三島も言わなかったけど。
It was rare for Messiah to take ill. In fact, she couldn't recall it ever happening before. Besides, he looked perfectly healthy, fine yesterday.
心配？あ、ええ。私もだわ。ちょっと珍しいものね。
Briscoe nodded.
放課後、みんなでお見舞いでもしてあげましょうか。はい、そうしましょう。
School days seemed to take an eternity to end. She thought he might email her, but nothing came. But she was starting to worry. Was he feeling so bad he couldn't even send an email? Their final homeroom ended, and Risco quickly left her classroom. Just then, the wall speaker buzzed, and her mother's voice sounded over.
学園から連絡です。今から緊急集会を行いますので、全校生徒は体育館に集まってください。全校生徒はこの後体育館に。
何よ。
The idea of skipping it flashed through her mind. Frankly, it shocked her, and had never considered such a thing before.
私はもう以前の私とは違うんだわ。
We're getting really close to the end here, but I'm so pissed because of the fucking bitch. But it didn't feel like a bad change, not at all. And here comes the lying that she does.
一体。
私が知るはずはないでしょ。一身上の都合。
Yeah, that smile. Here. Oh god, no. My neighbor. But apparently he had already left the campus. Briscoe walked to the bed. On unsteady legs, she knelt down on the floor, threw herself down, and began to cry hot tears. she still smelled like Messiah even as she wailed at the top of her lungs. Her mind continued to think. Her mother had said personal business, but Messiah had said nothing about it to her. She couldn't imagine something coming up in that time between last night and this morning, and if there had, surely he would have contacted her. Perhaps he didn't have time, but they lived in the same building. Her mother's strange behavior earlier, she must have said that knowing about Messiah's leave of absence, but Risco couldn't be sure. She was still certain her mother was involved in it somehow, but how could she prove it? Risco wiped away her tears, raised her head. Just then, she noticed something strange about the room around her.
なんだろう。なんか。
While she was still thinking it over, the door opened. Risco quickly turned around.
姉さん。
ここだったのか。走っ。目、赤いわよ。
Her sister stroked her cheek gently.
休学はあくまで休学な。
姉さんは本当にそう
思うって？
休学のこと。
違うの？
昨日までマサヤ様はそんなこと一言も言わなかったわ。そうでしょ？私も知らなかった。出て行く時だって何の連絡もなかった。こんなのどう考えてもおかしいもの。
まあね。もしかしたら
何か心当たりでもあるの？
いえ、心当たりっていうのでもないわ。ただほら、彼が留学トラブルがあったわけでしょ。借金はすべて
でも
それはそうよ。でもそして迷惑にならないようマサヤ君はこっそり言っているうち。
分かった。じゃあ私ちょっとアパートに行ってみる。
アパート？
Risco stood. Aika looked up at him.
マサヤ様の一応自宅ではあるんだし、本当に出て行ったのなら。
今から行くの？
姉さん、いつもどうやって外に出ていたの？
変わったわね。
そうでしょうね。
もちろんいい方にね。よし、じゃあ行きましょうか。
Aika stood up as well.
校門まで付き合ってあげる。どうやってっていうのは
Again, sorry for
特
the
にないわよ。
skips.
バレても気にしないならそのまま素通
But
りする
that's
だけだ
just
から。
to remove all the pointless shit, because all that was actually pointless of things that we already know that was going to happen.
一応着替えた方がいいわね。制服を着ているといつかの私みたいにトラブルに巻き込まれるかもしれないから。
分かった。確かこの辺だったはず。
She only had a dim recollection of it, so she ended up wandering around for quite some time.
あった。
There was no response. The lights were out too. She had heard there were people from the mafia in the building, but she didn't see them there. With nothing to show for her, Risco returned to school. If he wasn't at home, then where could Messiah possibly be? She was so worried that she wanted to scream. It took all the strength she had not to do so on the bus ride home.
そういえばさっきの違和感は何だったのかしら。
She knelt down and gazed on the bed. It came to her immediately. The sheets were wildly out of place. She could imagine the blanket slipping past on how a person slept, but there was no reason for the sheets to be in disarray. Besides, she didn't remember anything strange about how Messiah slept when they spent that night together on Christmas Eve. She thought about it for a while, but she couldn't figure out what it meant. She decided, though, that she would make the bed either way. She pulled off the blanket when...
これは
お前放課後無断で外出したそうだね。ガルディエンヌから報告があったわよ。
Oh my God, bitch, you get out of here. Her mother spoke up without even announcing her presence.
わざわざそんなことを言いに来たの？
まあそういうわけではないけれど、でもまさか律子がね。
今は普通の事態じゃないから。
写真は見た？
写真？
For a moment she stared, genuinely unsure of what she was talking about.
見合いの相手のプロフィールよ。この前渡して見ておくように言ったでしょ。
見るはずないでしょ、あんなもん。
なら今からでもいいから見ておきなさい。
Oh my god, fucking.
いい加減にして。
おこのぎまさやは本当に戻ってくるのかしら。
In that instant, her knees began to
休
tremble.
学がそのまま退学になるかもしれない。いずれ彼は根なし草のようなものなのよ。
Oh my god, I want
可能性は十分にあるわ
to
ね。
fucking break the dimensional barrier, saying, "Okay, bitch, how about this? I go get my fucking other body, bring him back, then leave, then say fuck you. You do not ruin this story here." The thought that Masaya may never return, it couldn't be. Knees knocked together as though a joint were out of place. She thought back on that night in the cathedral. She asked fearfully if he was going anywhere, and he answered her, "Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere."
やっぱり何かお母さんが関わっているのね。
Her mother shook her head.
嘘、あれはきっと。
相手を見つけておきなさい。母さんの言う通りにするなら協力してあげてもいいわ。
I wanna
協力？
おこのぎまさやを連れ戻す。
お母さんは一体どうしてそこまで？
わからないの？あの男はバンセンヌを、私の思い出を破壊したのよ。
Have this. Go ask Rice's fucking grandmother for help. Saying, "Hey, my mother made an orchestrated plan to kidnap him, and now he's gone. It wasn't a leave of absence. I can fucking prove it." The woman's eyes burned with hatred. Risco stared worsley at her mother. The woman she had known all her life has become a stranger right before her
ね
eyes.
え、お母さん。私、
あるもの？
足跡、土足の。これっておかしいわよね。どう考えても。一体誰がベッドの上に土足？
あの連中、間が抜けているわね。
やっぱりお母さん知っていたのね。
だったらどうだというの？
返して、マサヤ様を返して。
She clutched a fist to her breast and trembled. Her mother's eyes looked like calm pools stared into Risco's
だ
face.
から協力ならすると言っているでしょう。
Again, don't cooperate. You have other allies with you.
じゃあ警察に言うわ。
言ってどうするというの？律子、お前はこの国で年間何人の人間が蒸発するか知って？親にも見捨てられた若者を警察が真剣に追うとは思えない。バンセンヌに
でも
それにもしもそんなことをしたら。
分かっているの？お母さんのしていることは紛れもなく犯罪で。
バンセンヌのためにあの人はとてつもない大罪を犯してしまった。
あの人？大罪？
Her mother shook her head silently and oh yeah, the whole... She's talking about the arson incident, so...
分かった。
結婚の本来であれば卒業と同時にと私も考えていた。
I wanna
でも
kill her.
もうそんな悠長なことは言っていられないわね。
I'm too angry. Although the majesty of the game is calming me down, and also my tea. Need to eat to calm me down.
あろうことかお前はおこのぎまさやを愛してしまっている。であれば
結婚？
Her knees fell about the buckle again. Her mother was acting so strangely.
母さんもお父さん でもそれが過ちのもとだった。知恵の実を食べてしまったようなものだわ。どうするの、律子。母さんの言う通り。
それで本当に。
約束するわ。
Can you really take your mother's word for it? Think. Okay, Yuri, yes, I'm going to fast forward a bit.
幼児洗礼だなんて、私はそんなの認めない。
Neither did I. Trust me, I did it.
私たちの教派は幼児洗礼も有効だわ。そしてお前はすでに救われているのだから。全能の神にね。
Ishiko shook her head. Logically, she knew she was just discounted, but she couldn't. She had been taught Christian principles all her life.
1534年、ヘンリー8世はイングランド国教会を作り出し、自身の離婚問題。
Different branches believed different things, of course, but traditional Christians weren't allowed to divorce. Marriage was considered one of the sacraments. Not only was it one of God's sacraments, but it was considered to exist on a separate level from legal marriage. Because the Pope refused to acknowledge his divorce, Henry VIII split from the Roman Catholic Church.
そういったことは
Ooh, bitch.
今回候補に挙げたこの人たちも全員私たちと同じ教派のクリスチャンだわ。だから秘跡は何の問題もなく成立することになる。
How many times do I have to freaking punch her in the fucking face?
私はすぐに離婚す。
そう割り切れればいいでしょうけどね。一時期よくお御堂にいたのでしょ。私はてっきり
あれは
まあ
She was going to the cathedral to run
お
away
前
from
が
you.
約束を守るなら母さんも約束を守る。ごきげんよう。
Here, I'll fast forward a bit. So you haven't heard anything, Risco?
変ね。千穂さんは二人は幼馴染だし。私も何も。
Okay, we're going to take a small break here. Just wait for the next part.